Bonjour à tous, bienvenue dans ce nouvel épisode de Tips&Tricks. Aujourd'hui, j'ai l'immense plaisir d'accueillir, comme vous pouvez le constater, Javier Camarena, qui chante Edgardo dans Lucia di Lammermoor, dans la production dans laquelle j'ai la chance de chanter dans les chœurs aussi. Donc c'était l'occasion rêvée pour lui proposer de faire Tips&Tricks avec moi. Donc comme d'hab, j'ai rédigé mes petites questions et let's start.
Yeah.
How do you feel about tonight? It's the last show of Lucia, and I know you're in between sometimes a lot of work. How do you feel?
Excited. Happy to reach the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, since last week I am jumping between Paris and Monte Carlo. So I'm rehearsing there Traviata, which will be my debut as Alfredo.
Okay.
Yeah, between performances I go to Monte Carlo to do the rehearsals and then come back here. Okay. So I'm very happy this is the last trip. And I come back to Monte Carlo tomorrow to I have piano rehearsal. Okay. And next week we have our premiere, so yeah.
Wow, okay. So I guess you have to have a very strict way of life, sleep and I don't know.
Most of all that, yes.
Now you're in Paris and tomorrow Monte Carlo. How do you deal with the fact that you have to travel a lot and you don't have to maybe have some rest?
Uh-huh.
How do you do to be always in good health, in good shape vocally?
I don't get anxious. I think that's one of the main things. Remain calm in the sense that I am actually not single in daily basis. I mean, it's not that I'm urged to find out or try the voice or see what is going on. I know I can sing Traviata because I sang it 1.5 months ago.
Okay.
At home studying, I went through the whole role. I know it. It has been a little bit difficult now these past weeks because I really want to go through the role, and sing it with the scene, all the movements and everything. But I have to be here and I have to fulfill my obligations singing the performances of Lucia. So I tried not to be anxious. That's the main thing. I mean, I sing one show here. This is almost like for everybody, you finish the performance and you have a lot of hungry. So I just normally have something to dinner and then I go to sleep because tomorrow I will wake up at 7 a.m. more or less 8. Take a quick shower and then go to the airport and fly to Monte Carlo. And from airport, I go directly to theater. I will have makeup and everything tomorrow. And then these previous days, even if I wanted to practice a little bit more and sing a little bit more, I just tried to be relaxed. I sang just a couple of phrases here and there. And yes, the rest is to trust what I know.
Yeah.
So
the main thing is trust.
Yes, and also the rest is something very important. Is try to sleep as much as possible. Now, nowadays I must say that it has become easier every time. I mean, now I just take the car, from the apartment to the airport, and I'm sleep like 5 minutes in the roll, and it's like, and then I wake up like almost arriving to the airport, and I go through the whole things you have to do in the airport. I'm on the plane. I don't even feel when this.
Okay.
How you say it? Lifts.
Yes.
I profit every single chance I have for try to be well rested.
And isn't it hard to jump from a repertoire to another, to sing Edgardo and then Alfredo and then go back to Edgardo?
I have been in Edgardo. That's what I was telling you. I have not seen so much from Traviata now. But I must say they're quite similar roles. I mean, Edgardo it can be a little bit more light.
Yeah.
Because it's a bel canto role, not so lyric. But they share a certain way of singing. It's not that far apart.
Okay.
Yeah, I will see next week. I need to really go a little bit more into the singing the whole role.
Yeah. How did you start to sing? Was it like a dream from your childhood to be a singer, or you someday you just discover opera and you said, oh yes, I have to do this job?
I think a little bit of both. I remember, I don't remember where, I must say, but I recently read, I'm sure I read an article that says that they have been doing research. It's a fact that musicians have a special gene.
Okay.
That leads you to love music and go for it as a way of life, and you have these the abilities and so on. I don't remember why I read it. I'm sorry, but I know I read it. Maybe you can look for it. I was always fascinated with music. I don't have a family of musicians.
Yeah.
So what I grew up listening to, it was very eclectic. It was like from everybody. I had Bee Gees and Queen and ABBA and Carpenters from the side of my uncles. Creedence Clearwater, my mother used to love Creedence, and some other artists like old artists from my grandparents, and I had a lot of influences around, and I just loved music. Back then there were also like children's bands, so for me that was like, I want to be the singer of this group, but it was more like a children's play, you know. It was not like I was really pursuing anything. Even so, when I began the career and formally studying singing, I had no idea about opera,
Okay.
I just went because I was 19 years old and I wanted to study music and I want to be pianist, for which I was already very old because the top age was 12 years old. Second option was guitar to be guitarist, and I was 2 years older than the top. So I could fulfill the whole requisites for going in the career of music, singing. So that's how I began. I didn't know nothing about opera. I just thought, okay, I will be able to sing better, It was with time that I realized what was the goal of prepare yourself in a career in singing, which is like really develop your voice and make it an extraordinary instrument. The first time I discovered opera, I was already in my third year studying singing. And I must say this because this is very important for young singers to begin really like a book with blank page. I had no idea of nothing, so I had neither any ambition. So for me, it was not rushing to sing, the famous arias, or I was not. I just let my teacher do with my voice.
Yes.
Whatever she thought was necessary to do with my voice. She was the one who had the vision back then. She told me, you could be a good tenor. You have a nice color in your voice. If you study, you will develop and be a good tenor. And I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. So I had my first 3 years singing Vaccai, Concone, Garcia, Marchesi, Lichten, all the vocal technique methods.
Yeah.
That was the whole lessons, and by the end of the semester, 2 months maybe, I had also 2 songs from the Ariantique. Yeah, that was it. Nothing more. So after 3 years going through that, I was in a lesson of Italian, and the professor told us, you are studying Italian because you will sing in Italian, so you have to know how to sing Italian because it's not the same that speaking Italian. So he showed us Placido Domingo and Eva Martin singing Turandot at the Met, and it was like, what? Yeah, everything was clear. Everything had sense. The scales and the vocal technique, methods, everything was like, okay, there's a reason for studying this. So I will prepare myself to do that one day. So, yeah, that was the way.
Yeah. So your repertoire was pretty clear at the beginning when your teacher told you that yes, you can be a tenor. There was no doubt about.
The first aria I ever learned was Una furtiva lagrima. That was the first aria that my teacher assigned me for learning with Il mio tesoro. That was the first arias I ever learned. And then she was very careful to always, lead me in choosing repertoire. And of course, when I discovered opera, the first opera I listened to was Turandot. Of course, was like Nessun Dorma. Okay, I want to sing Nessun Dorma. I became a tenor. Like I want to sing Nessun Dorma. Yeah. Like nothing else matters, right? But I just was really even then not so ambitious about the repertoire. I just was letting myself lead from my teacher. So I began with a lot of Mozart arias, Una ora amorosa, and then some from Clemenza di Tito, and then everything was in that direction. Then I changed school, I changed teachers, but every single time I was so lucky that I had very good teachers, but always were taking me to the bel canto repertoire. I had one teacher that also included a little bit of German leader, but was not my biggest strength. I love it, but it's like really I have to go through a lot of study to do it well.
Yes.
Also chanson, I remember I have a teacher that also pushed me a little bit to chanson. I was like, as you can see, I don't speak French, so yeah, I must say I was fortunate. Then I had some time when I was doing whatever I want, so I could sing as a student Recondita Armonia and the aria from Fausto and going through Magic Flute. I just took whatever I wanted, and it was like, yeah, I will just go for it, right? But definitely when I went to contests, and the few times I went to contests, it was always with bel canto repertoire. Then the offers began to come for me for working, and it was always bel canto. So yeah.
Yeah, you just went where you had opportunities too. Yeah. Cool. And you did at the beginning of your career, you went at Zurich Opera Ensemble, no? Yeah,
that was my first stop after Mexico. It was actually from Mexico there, and I was there for in the ensemble for 7 years more or less.
Okay, so is it so you were at the beginning of your career? So is it an experience that you recommend to young singer to get in an ensemble? And
nowadays, what I recommend to young singers is to be humble and have the feet in the ground, because we are facing very, very difficult times in terms of culture.
Yeah.
And to be very ambitious, and I'm not saying not to be, but to be very realistic about the things that are happening now. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult career, and we have to face that, and we have to say that very openly, because we can avoid a lot of disappointments and frustrations and whatever. It is very difficult
to have a place,
to build a career, and to make the dream career, right? You have to be very clear that you have, as a singer, so many options, and to find a place and to find a job that gives you the possibility of work for music is a blessing. So you cannot look over your shoulder to any offer. Yeah. Because I often look a lot of young singers that they say, but I don't want to be working in a choir. I don't want to be working in this and that. I mean, it's work. It's work. You can feel blessed if somebody invites you and work in a choir, and the choir. I admire so much choir singers. Really, with all my heart, I say it from the bottom of my heart. I admire, because you work so hard. You know, all choir singers work so hard. This is so much the things you have to learn and to be always in shape, and you're going from one production to another, and you have a lot of study, a lot of singing every single day, and it's like, oh my God, how you do that? Really, for me, it's like fascinating. To the young singers, yes, you can pursue a career. You can really try to achieve your goals, but be very realistic that this is a very, very difficult career.
Yeah.
It is very competitive. It is very, very, very hard. And of course, our professors, they're always, you know, like motivating us,
yes.
and pushing us and giving us this sometimes very utopic idea of how opera world is working. And then you face another reality, and you face that it's really, 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 really hard.
Yes. I must say that during my studies, I only have two teachers that they told me it's really hard, and I didn't have no idea about all the possibilities. You know, the small choirs, the big choirs of opera, soloist, but small career, and it's not bad to say small career. You can have a beautiful career just like in France or in another country. It's not bad. I mean, it all depends about what you want in your life too.
Yeah.
It's not just about work. You have to think about you, your life, your personal life. Then when I started to have auditions and everything, I was like, who? I knew that it was gonna be hard, but
not that hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and you have, I guess, you have to be perfect if you want to be in another place. Then that people start to hire you to new roles and everything. You just always have to work, and it's really hard to be always in shape, to learn new things every day. And yes, disappointment is a big issue.
Yeah, that's why I think it's very important to be humble in this sense.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, you cannot say that it's a small career. It's a career.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, you can feel blessed if you have the chance of work and live from music, and have, you know, in an ensemble, as you said, or in a choir, small choirs. Maybe not only for opera, you have another possibilities, you know, like singing. There are singers specialized in oratorium, or they are only singing lead or chanson, you know, the art songs.
Mm-hmm.
Also teaching, or, you know, there's a lot of possibilities when you study music. And I think one of the most important advices I can, you know, like I can give you now is like, if you do this career because you are pursuing fame, sooner or later you're going to be lost, and sooner or later you're going to be frustrated, because fame is
it's not the goal,
and it's not real.
Yeah,
it's not real. Sooner or later it vanishes, and then what you have left, if you do it because you love music and you love the possibility of singing or of playing, or, you know, because you have to reach this point when you know that this is what you were born to, you know?
Yeah.
And be happy doing that.
Yeah. That's very important to say that, because nobody talks about that often. So thank you for saying things.
No, yeah, and I mean it happens not only for opera.
Yeah.
I mean, we know now, you know, the big stars are pop singers. You know, these are the real big, huge worldwide stars. And you know, for one Justin Bieber, how many others are going around pursuing this career. In every genre, it's going to be almost the same thing. And in opera, even harder, because now we're facing another reality in another world with another economy. That's something that you have to be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked earlier about disappointment. Did you face some at the beginning of your career and you tried to get in? How did you deal with that? Because sometimes when you receive just no, you're like, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't, but maybe I was too something, you know what I mean? And it's really hard to take a step back and
when you are in this phase, you know, and I will tell what was my experience and what did I thought in that time. The first time I went to a contest, it was in Peru, Trujillo, Peru. It was an international contest, and I remember my professor was part of the jury. So he said, "Let's go." That was my first semester studying with this teacher, and he told me, let's go to a contest." And I was like, "What is that?" I was really not feeling ready to do a contest.
Okay.
I was realistic with myself, but I said, well, my teacher says I go, right? I don't know what's gonna happen. I had no intention of. I knew I was not going to win. That's something I really knew. So, because of that, it was not surprised that I just sang the half of Il mio tesoro, and they said, "Yeah, thank you, bye." Okay. So that was it. Not even finished one aria. So instead of being, you know, like with a big head, thinking that the jury, they don't know nothing, they have their favorites, no, this is already bought, and the prices are already given, these crazy egocentric ideas. For me, it was everything an amazing experience, because I studied a lot. I mean, it wasn't not only like, I will sing, let's see what happens. I studied a lot. I prepared a lot, and I knew the aria. I knew the whole things I was supposed to sing, and as soon as I stepped on the stage, nerves. That was the first thing. Nerves. My mouth went dry, and when I tried to salivate, whatever was possible to. I tried to swallow, and it was like sand here inside, because it was completely like I was blocked. Mm-hmm. So the first thing when I went out was like, why? Why did I let myself be in that situation? Because that was only my mind. Mm-hmm. Nobody pushed me. Nobody. That was myself. So this is something I have to work for me and from inside. So that was the first thing I was like learning. Mm-hmm. Second thing, it was like, okay, I was not good enough. Let's see what the other competitors are doing. I will try to learn from them. Yeah. I saw every single one of the contests, the contestants. Sopranos, mezzo-sopranos, baritons, tenors, and singing the whole repertoire from bel canto to verismo, and I heard everything from that phase until the finals. I was there and I was listening everything, and from really my feet in the ground, it was like, okay, this guy is doing this and this. He had the way he comes in, the way he is standing, the way he's singing, what is he doing with the hand, what is he doing with his face. And of course, that was like, oh, come on, I can do that better than this guy. I can do that someday. To be really well positioned in my head to work the things I needed to work. So that was right from the beginning, and as I told you, I didn't do so many contests. I came back with this bunch of ideas about repertoire, about how the things I wanted to work. So I went to a next contest in Mexico, and I went through the first stage. So after that, I was like, also, thank you. But that contest, I did it 4 times. The first time was like, yeah, thank you. The second time, I won a scholarship.
Okay.
Third time, I won it was a special prize, which allowed me to make my debut 1 year after, and I sang Stabat Mater from Rossini. And that same year, I was not going to do any contest again, because I said I already made my debut. People know me. They know what I can sing. And I remember I just signed to go to the contest the same day it was closed. So I went, and that last time I won. It was a matter of 4 years, but every single year I was doing the very exact same thing. From the moment I was in the room, I was trying to listen and to watch everything by my fellows were doing, because I wanted to learn, and that's the most important part of this stage in your career, to learn. So frustration was not something that really went too deep. Of course, I did some audition, and it was like, yeah, nothing happened. But I took this like that, okay, what I have to improve, what I have to do better, and I worked on that.
You're my first tenor in the Tips and Tricks. And actually, it's a voice that I don't know very well. So I would like to know, what is the biggest challenge for a tenor voices, technically or in the repertoire? I don't know. What has been complicated for you?
For the tenor, always going to be the high notes. Always. Because it's absurd, because in order to achieve high notes, you have to do all the opposite things that you think you need to do in order to achieve them. First of one is, make pressure and scream and give all the forza, and that's completely opposite. The other thing is be very strong, and it's a complete opposite, because you have to relax everything in order to, the breathing and everything is a series of steps that you cannot imagine that at a certain point will lead you to that. When I began to study, I just had, 1 octave, and already singing the "oh no fortimo" was like, oh, I couldn't reach that F. Yeah. So it was a matter of patience and trust my professors. And I think, yes, for the tenor voice, the hardest part will be always dominate, master the part of the high notes, and when you and when you reach that point, try to not burn all the neurons in your brain, and want to sing high notes in every single place is a very bad taste. So yeah, to have good taste will be the second one.
I know what you mean.
I mean, they always have this joke of tenor head, because normally it's like, Nessun Dharma. Yeah.
I have 2 last questions. With a career like yours, how do you keep a good balance between your personal life and your work? As we speak earlier, now you are in between Monte Carlo and Paris, so you're in between two places, but maybe you live somewhere else, so it's not sometimes maybe easy to keep that balance.
It's not the easiest part. In terms of family and relationships, you both need to be committed in the work you're doing, because I mean, I have my wife, I have two kids. It's not easy. I haven't been at home since December now, so I'm just looking forward to finish with Traviata to come back home. It is hard because in my experience, you become really part of the industry, and yourself become a certain way an industry by yourself. Because you have a team that is working around you. You know, I have my agency, and then I have the travel agency, and I have, you know, many people that are also working around my work. And of course, agencies, promoters, and so they are always going to try to, you know, find the possibilities of, in a good way, exploit you.
Exploit? To help you?
To give you work. You know,
okay, yes.
And keep you working.
Yeah.
You know? So, it is hard to manage, you know, the chances of administrate the time. But something I have been really trying to organize much better. 3 years ago, right before pandemics, I reached a point in the career that it was like really completely burnout, because it's not only singing.
Yeah.
You give a lot of your energy, physical but also emotional.
Yeah.
And I reached this point, and with the pandemics, I just began to reevaluate a lot of things, you know. And now I am trying to balance better, not only for physical, vocal health, but also that very important part that I really never paid attention to, because I was going with the inertia. But when this energy went out, it was so hard to recover. It doesn't have nothing to do with the voice, really.
Yeah.
That part in the soul, that when it's like really like it reached the limit, to feel it again, it is really hard. So I try to balance much better things now, because it is important. This is part. Maybe for me is the most important part for my singing. So I try to take care a little bit more of that side, in order to offer me in the best way possible to the audience.
Yeah. And the last one, it's what would you say to the young Javier, who's who just discovered Nessun Dorma, and who is thinking, oh yes, I want to sing that one day. What would you say to him?
To myself, knowing myself, trust your instinct always. Sometimes you have to take some risky decisions.
Yes.
That in a moment it doesn't seem to have sense. And I can say I can say it now because it's already out. I had to do a debut of Manon right after this Traviata. So finishing Traviata, I had to go to Liceo in Barcelona to do Manon. And it was going to be my debut as the griot. I tried this role. I sang the arias, you know, here and there in the recitals and so. But the role is not only the arias. Then you have to face a lot of things in this one. And my voice simply was not finding the place. Because it's very central role, and the dramatic parts are in that center low part. I'm not there yet, My voice is lighter. So it was very hard to take the decision of giving up that role. But this kind of decision has been happening since beginning. When you have in your head that maybe this is not the right thing, trust your instinct. Because maybe you're right, and if you're wrong, you can learn also from that.
Yeah. That's a wise word to end. Thank you very much for your time. And it was very nice to talk. And to say bye-bye, I said just like this.